With City on the ropes, 3 defeats on the trot, Haaland missing chance after chance, XG not being converted into points and goals, is it time we looked elsewhere? Anybody else making the move? Let's find out. Let's get into it. Hello everybody, welcome to Friday Night Live from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show, Game Week 11 preview. We're going to have a look back at how things unfurled in Game Week 10. Look ahead to what might be about to happen in Game Week 11. It's the last week before the final international break of the year, so I don't think there'll be too many changes made. And then we'll have a brief look at what might be about to happen straight after we come back at the mid to end point of November. And we've got a couple of questions from Patreon. So without further ado, let's see where we ended up. And brutally honest, it wasn't a very good week. 53 I scored. And there were some people, including Dan Cox, who got a good 100, and he wasn't even top for the week. So let's have a look and see where we ended up in our team, or my team. And Saturday, Salah was captain. He had 9 points doubled up to 18. Scored against Brighton in a good comeback second half week for Liverpool. Biggest disappointment for me was Muric, who lost his clean sheet in the 94th minute. And then Sunday, very disappointing. Palmer, 2-pointer, was captain. And then Monday, I was fortunate enough to get the Robinson assist, who doubled up the 7 points to 14. And Buemo, who had been positioned for this fixture, did nothing for Brentford. They were unlucky, I guess. Brentford 1-0 up, but off the bench was Harry Wilson. Anybody who's fortunate enough to get him, I doubt there's anybody. We'll have a look when we later on and see ownership and stuff. I doubt there's anybody that's got Harry Wilson, to be honest, but we shall see. And then the ones that sort of did the most damage was Chris Wood scored again. Gvardiol, who, even though City lost, he scored their goal. He's been a great selection for those that have had him since the start, 4.5. And of course, Dom Solanke, who scored twice for Tottenham last Sunday when they thrashed Villa, really, 4-1. And he's got a great fixture this week. He came off the bench in Europe this week, and they host Ipswich on Sunday. So I think Solanke could be in for a big haul there for owners. So let's have a look and see where we are on the leaderboard. Up at the top, Duncan Bailey still, 971, 60 for the week. Ben Parkin is second, 966, 81 for the week. And Scott Bailey is joining his brother there in third, only 6 points behind, 64 for the week. And then we have in fourth place Richard Fincham. Dean Hicks, an old friend from Sky Leaderboards, up into fifth place, 102 for the week. Well done, Dean. Darren Malloy in sixth. Barry Morrison's joint sixth, alongside Shane White as well, so joint sixth there on 949. Ninth, Neil Brooks, 945, and 10th is Keith Wood with 943. And then scores for the week. Top, Julian Davey, 105. Ryan Carroll, 104. Dean Hicks, 102. The aforementioned Dan Cox. Good to see you back down. I heard mooted on the Nip and a Half pod with Paul McAnulty and Fergie on Monday that you might be making a guest appearance there. So looking forward to that. And then Kevin Wood, 10th overall with 99 for the week. So few others there going well. Well done, everybody. And we'll have a look at the point scorers. So Erling Haaland still top of the shop with 97. Mo Salah 89. Cole Palmer 84. Virgil van Dijk up into fourth there with 74. reverting to type there with his old Sky scoring. And we've got Chris Wood and Brian Mbeumo, both done very well for owners. Saka and Gvardiol, both on 70. Nick Jackson, 69. Danny Welbeck still going well on 67. Christian Romero, 64. Ollie Watkins, 63. Mateo Kovacic, 63 as well. Jared Bowen, we'll see a bit later. I've got plans for Mr. Bowen. He's on 59. Konate, 58. Went off at half time in the Liverpool game last weekend, but did play. I think he played nearly all the game against Leverkusen on Tuesday night. So it looks like he's going to be fit to play again. Luis Diaz there, 58, hat-trick on Tuesday. Trent again, another clean sheet, 57. It's going well for Liverpool so far this year. Gabriel there, 57 as well. Nick Pope, 56, and James Maddison rounding things out with 56 in the top 20. He had a great free kick on a Sunday. As soon as the whistle was blown, straight in the corner, keeper had no chance. And we'll have a quick look here at bonus points. So Christian Romero, still top there with 30. Kovacic 29, Bednarek 26 alongside Ruben Diaz. Gvardiol 23 going well. Haaland 23. Flecken 10 saves on Monday. Still no clean sheet, but he's got 22 bonus points out of 10 games. That's not bad going really. Ethan Pinnock didn't do much for owners on Monday either. 20. Thomas Partey 20 points as well. Van Heck doing nicely at 2.8, 19. Mo Salah, 19, all in shots. Bruno Fernandes and Bruno Guimaraes both with 18. So with United's change of manager, Bruno scored a penalty last week. Is he going to be back on people's radar? Nick Pope, 18, so second in bonus points for keepers. Manuel Akanji, 18. Moses Caicedo, what a goal that was on Sunday. Apps picked that out. So he's on 17 alongside William Saliba and Lisandro Martinez. So if you're looking for a United defender, could he be the one to go to? And then Taylor Harwood-Bellis there on 16. We had a couple of West Ham related questions in from David, who says, get a West Ham player now or wait until a single game day when West Ham may even have a different manager by then. And he follows it up with a partly related question. I have a striker spot free. Strand Larsen, Cunha or neither? Wolves haven't been getting the results but have been scoring and have a good run coming up. And then from Aaron, who says, is Saka to Bowen for the single game day worth it? Or should I just skip it due to Saka's decent fixtures and West Ham's poor form? Only way I can see myself getting an asset for it. Then he also asked, should I hold Bednarek for a while or move back to Van Heck? So I will deal with West Ham one first. So let's have a look at the fixtures here. So there's something that was brought up in last week's show that we've got some clarification on now. So on Sunday the 15th of December, we can see here that Crystal Palace's visit to Brighton has been shifted back from Monday Night Football to Sunday, 2 o'clock. And that is because Arsenal versus Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup quarterfinals has been finally scheduled for Wednesday the 18th of December now. There was a stumbling block because Tottenham were due to play at home as well. Their match is on the Thursday. And also Arsenal ladies are at home to Bayern Munich in the Champions League, last of the group stage games. But Arsenal men's team against Crystal Palace is going to be on that Wednesday. So I think the ladies game, if it's going to be on the same day, it'll have to be at a different stadium, or they're going to have to bring the game forward or back. But being the last group stage game, then the Juventus fixture in the same group needs to be moved to the same day and time. So we'll see how that pans out. But the main reason for it being a topic here is we can see that West Ham's trip to Bournemouth has now been shifted to Monday the 16th for television coverage, so that is a single game day. And we look here at West Ham's fixtures. They play Everton at home on Saturday, then they travel to Newcastle the Monday after the international break, so that is a single game day there. Then they play Arsenal on Saturday, November the 30th. Then they travel to Leicester on Tuesday, December the 3rd. And there's only 2 games that day due to Sky doing their best to make sure that Amazon don't have very good fixtures. So we have Crystal Palace visit to Ipswich, and we have West Ham's visit to Leicester. So looks like West Ham player could be a decent captaincy that day. Then the following game week, they're on Monday Night Football again for a single game day. This time they host Wolves. And then, as we've just seen, on the following Monday, they're on Monday Night Football again. So another captaincy. So that is 3 single game days in 5 weeks. Newcastle, Wolves and Bournemouth. And then also possibly a de facto captaincy if you don't have anybody else on Tuesday, December the 3rd. So I think in relation to the question, West Ham are going to be on the radar. Whether you would bring them in now, I would suggest probably not, because on the Monday games, you're guaranteed to get an additional game. So even if you don't fancy them for Newcastle away, I'm fairly sure you'll want somebody for Wolves at home and Bournemouth away, 2 back-to-back single days. We also noticed then they play Brighton after, and then Southampton on Boxing Day. So you can move off to a team playing on Friday, December the 27th. So if we have a look here, from that Monday, 25th, which is the game against Newcastle, you can see West Ham have 7 fixtures, so do Newcastle. And there's several there that have only got 5. So my plan, we'll see that shortly, was to move Mbeumo onto Bowen for single game days. And that basically turns out into a 10-5, I think, maybe even an 11-5. But things could change. So would I move Saka on to Bowen? So Arsenal play Chelsea, then Nottingham Forest. Then they've got the game against West Ham, and then they play Manchester United, and then Fulham. So if I had Saka, I would probably be avoiding this trip to Newcastle for West Ham, but then I might look to be bringing somebody in for these fixtures here. So you've got Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton at home, 2 captaincies, so 5 fixtures really. And then if you're moving from Saka, you miss Everton at home, Palace away, and then if you want it, you can come back for Ipswich at home, which looks like it'd be a good captaincy on that Friday, December the 27th. So with Wolves, in answer to David's question, so they've got Southampton at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Everton away, West Ham away, Ipswich at home, Leicester away, Manchester United at home, and Tottenham away, all before New Year. So yes, definitely a good run of fixtures. But if you have a spare striker slot available, I would suggest looking no further than Bournemouth. Semenyo, 2.8 million. Bournemouth have beaten Manchester City and Arsenal in the last 2 weeks. Semenyo at the 4 in both. And their fixture run is not too terrible either. Got Brentford, Brighton, Wolves, Tottenham, Ipswich. The aforementioned single game day against West Ham there on Monday the 16th. And then before New Year, they play Manchester United, Crystal Palace and Fulham. So you might like the look of Wolves' fixtures. I don't think there's anything in Bournemouth to suggest that they're any worse. And I think Bournemouth as a team, and Semenyo in particular, is a better option. And then with regards for Bednarek or Van Heck, my personal opinion is Van Heck is the better player. If I had Bednarek, I would definitely play him away to Wolves. But then if you look at the next fixtures, they've got Liverpool and Brighton, Chelsea, Villa, Tottenham, whereas Brighton have Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, Leicester and Crystal Palace. So I think if I had the Bednarek at the minute, and I wanted to move to Van Heck, I would probably do it for the Bournemouth trip on the 23rd. So speaking of teams, let's have a look and see where we are with my team. So Muric, Romero, Robinson and Van Heck, Palmer, Saka, McNeil, Dibbling, Haaland, Salah and Mbeumo. So all things considered, not pulling up many trees. And as previously stated, my planned move was to do Mbeumo to Bowen a week on Monday. Fortnight Monday, but for the Monday night football when we come back after the international break. But as mooted on the thumbnail with Haaland, it could be that if he does nothing against Brighton this week, which is the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday, and then they host Tottenham Saturday 17:30, so 5:30 tea time kickoff on the 23rd, then he might be the one that goes. And if I just move this across, paste Mbeumo back in, and if I then move Bowen in here, that gives me £5 million in cash that I can make some upgrades on the rest of the team. So we had another question on the WhatsApp regarding Dibbling. Do I have him? What's the plan? So yes, I do have him. He's sitting there. He's only 2.1 million. So I'm definitely going to keep him for Wolves. Then they play Liverpool here the following Sunday game, early kickoff. But if I end up moving Haaland out for Bowen, then there could be some money knocking around to upgrade Dibbling. That's going to get me like £7 million player. That's a lot. Could do 2 upgrades. Could have Dibbling and McNeil move. Could even look to move Muric up, Robinson. So yeah, I'm going to give it Haaland. I think it's going to get those 2 games for me, and then we'll make a decision. If it looks like he's not doing anything, then I might cut him loose. I've got nothing to lose position in the game, so we could have a bit of fun with it, get some different players in. I thought Dibbling, he looked good when he first came in, but it's not getting a start. He's only scored the 1 goal. He's definitely dirt cheap and he allows more in the team. But if that more in the team isn't doing much good, then maybe it's time to move them on. So we'll see how that goes. So for the fixtures this week, excuse me, no early kickoff. The TNT game is actually Liverpool against Villa, and it's the late kickoff on Saturday, because Villa were playing away in Bruges on Wednesday, and that's one of the regulations. I don't think TNT will be too disappointed to get a prime-time kickoff, to be honest. So the first of the early games, well, they're not that early, 3 o'clock kickoffs. Brentford against Bournemouth, should be a good game this, I think. If you've got Mbeumo, hopefully he'll be back on the score sheet. If you've got one of the defensive assets, I fancy Bournemouth to score, to be honest. I think that might be a good game. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Crystal Palace against Fulham. So Fulham showed on Monday that they were comeback kings at Brentford. A away game this time against Fulham. Against Crystal Palace, another London derby. I think Fulham might win again. If Eze's back, that'll aid Palace. If he's not, then I think they'll struggle. I'm going to go for a tight win, 2-1 to Fulham. West Ham against Everton. 2 teams that are struggling a touch. Hopefully, if you've got West Ham on your mind, they can show some improvement this week. It might make a decision ready for the next week. If they do badly again, then it might be a case of, we'll leave West Ham and maybe look at Newcastle. The game itself, fancy it to be quite tight. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to West Ham. Wolves against Southampton. I think this might be more entertaining than it looks on paper. Southampton got a first win of the season last week. They beat Everton 1-0. Ramsdale performed some heroics in goal. Can Wolves bounce back? They scored twice against Palace, but they weren't all that good by all accounts. I didn't see the game. I was watching a recording of England against New Zealand, and that didn't go very well either. I'm going to go for Wolves to win, Southampton to score. I'll go for a 2-1. Brighton against Man City. Well, Man City, a bit of a crisis at the minute, got absolutely walloped in the Champions League by Sporting on Tuesday. Brighton played well at Liverpool. Liverpool came back in the second half. I think Brighton might do okay here. But form is temporary, class is permanent. Will City turn it on? I have a feeling they might. I'm going to go for City to get a win. I'm going to go for a 2-1. Liverpool against Aston Villa. So Liverpool at home in the Champions League this week on Tuesday. Aston Villa away in the Champions League on Wednesday. So it's a bit of an advantage there. Villa got humped by Tottenham last weekend. Liverpool, as previously said, beat Brighton. I'm going to go for Liverpool to win. I think there'll be some goals. I'm going to go for 3-1. Then the Sunday games. So we've got 3 games at 2 o'clock, 2 of which were moved for Europa League, and 1 was moved for TV. The TV game is Nottingham Forest against Newcastle. Will Chris Wood score again? Newcastle improving. I think this might be quite close. I'm going to go for 1-1. Wood to score and Isak to score. Manchester United against Leicester. So this is the last of Ruud van Nistelrooy's games before Amorim comes in after the international break to take over. They absolutely thrashed Leicester seconds in the EFL Cup week before last. Will they be able to do the same to the firsts? Ahmad was at the fore in the Europa League this week. Maybe he'll get a start. Rashford came on for Garnacho. I think United will win. I'm going to go for 2-0. Tottenham against Ipswich. So Tottenham were away in Galatasaray. They got taken apart by Osimhen and then brought Solanke off the bench and fought back to 3-2. Their form after Europa League games in the Premier League has been mediocre. They beat Manchester United. They lost to Brighton. And I think they drew their 3rd game. So they were travelling in Turkey, obviously, to play Galatasaray. They've got fairly quick turnaround, so it's Thursday evening to Sunday lunchtime. I think they'll have enough for Ipswich, but whether they're going to go absolutely bonkers in the scoring, I doubt. I'm going to go for 2-0. I fancy Solanke will probably score again. Then Chelsea against Arsenal is the Super Sunday, the last before the international break. So Chelsea, they beat Noah, a wet weather team if ever there was one, in the Conference League on Thursday. Arsenal were beaten by Inter. Inter rested 5 of their better players as well. That was in the Champions League on Wednesday. I think this might be a tight game as well. There's a lot of close-ish games this week. Very difficult to pick a last man standing winner, I think. Manchester United and Tottenham would be the 2, you would think. But Chelsea against Arsenal, I'm going to go for a 1-1. If Palmer doesn't play, it might give Arsenal more chance. Odegaard was off the bench in midweek. He'll probably come on and get more minutes this week. Might make a difference to Arsenal moving forward. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. So no changes planned for the team this week. I have 7 players on Saturday and 4 on Sunday. Hopefully somebody will do something decent. I wonder who their high scoring players. Probably Salah favoured for captain, possibly on Saturday. And on Sunday, if he plays, probably Romero might be their best chance of the high scoring game. All right, let's have a look at some transfers then. And as mentioned earlier, I thought we'd have a look at Harry Wilson. And as suggested, he hasn't been owned by anybody all season long. Whether that will change now or not, I don't know. 2.9 seems reasonably enough, but we know that Semenyo is 2.8 and a Fulham set would be Emil Smith Rowe, and he's only 3.0. So probably a moot point here, and let's move on. So let's have a look at transfers for this week. And we can see here, we'll start with the ins first. So they're the biggest ones are highlighted in yellow. So no surprise that the biggest in this week, 50 people decided that they were going to bring in Brian and Mbeumo. Fair play. It didn't work out, but it was a planned move. It was a single game day. Still got good fixtures moving forward. So good luck. I still have him, and as we saw, going to keep at least for another 2 games. Then we saw Smith Rowe. So I think a few people that didn't have him decided it was a good time to get him in, ready for the single game day on Monday. So good enough policy again. Saka, 18 people brought him back. Obviously, he was down to be playing. Didn't do anything in the game, but at least he's back and he's playing now. And then Van Heck, another one coming back from injury, so 11 people brought him in. As for the out, so at the bottom here, Lewis Dunk has trailed on last week's show. He's got a 3 to 4 week injury, so he was taken out by 21 people. Ollie Watkins, there's a bit more of a surprise, but I think some correlation in taking Watkins out to bring in Mbeumo in. Again, as we've said previously, there are only 3 forward slots in the game, and you need to be utilising them fairly, well, more than fairly. You've got to utilise them very well to do well in the game. Eze, 47 people. Again, another one that was trailed as being injured, and he didn't play, so there was a fairly easy move on. I think they're identically priced, Eze and Mbeumo. Yep. 3.9 each. And then Erling Haaland, 16 people. They've had enough this week. He's been moved on. I think there could have been quite a few there that moved on to Mbeumo, and they've planned to use the funds elsewhere, a bit like I was moosing over. So yeah, so one person brought him in last week, 16 people taking him out this. Let's see how that moves. So he's still top of the shop on 82. 72 for Palmer, 52 for Romero, then everybody else is under 50% now. And we've only got here down to Gvardiol now. So how many is that? It's 4. It's 9 players with more than 3 in 10 ownership. I know it's a bit more down there. So we've got 39 with Mbeumo. So yeah, probably about 10 players with more than 3 in 10 owners. And as for the average transfer count, so we're sitting here still at 34.6 remaining. So I still think that might be slightly skewed by those that have signed up and not used any transfers at all. But we're 10 weeks in, so if that's only half transfer per week, and I've used more than 10, goes to show why I'm not doing so well. And those at the top, hopefully they've got a few left. And there's going to be an exciting autumn, and then we'll see where we look after Christmas with how many moves are left. Well, thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed what you see, please give the video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. If you want to use the transfer planners that I've utilised throughout the video to show moves, then you can join us over on Patreon, patreon.com, Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show, where you have access to those. Enjoyed the football over the weekend. I'm going to enjoy some egg chasing. We have New Zealand against Ireland tonight. Should be a good game. England against Australia tomorrow. Looking to bounce back against another team from down under. Then 2 cracking football games. Brighton against Manchester City and Liverpool against Aston Villa. So it's sort of tea time and evening. Then on Sunday, it's Nottingham Forest against Newcastle, and then Chelsea against Arsenal. And then we all toddle off for the last international break of the year, and then it'll be full throttle ahead all the way through to New Year, really. All right, enjoy your weekend. Thanks very much. See you soon. Bye for now.